$56,273.82. Greetings, Alts Max, and we're back doing some crypto stuff. So Bitcoin's just keeping on going up. Just keeping on going. No, I got person that I actually work with who's involved in trading stocks and things, and we started talking back and forth about crypto and stocks, and he's poo-poo on crypto and Bitcoin and this and that. When that conversation took place, Bitcoin was 30,000. Well, not that low, 35,000. That was only 2 months ago, right? So, how many stocks have gone up by, what, 50, 60, 70% in that amount of time? That's right, none. Okay, so let's get a start on here with the news. So Bitcoin obviously is taking the lead here at 56,000. Its market cap, it owns like 46% of the entire crypto market cap. It was going down for the last couple of months as altcoins have been rising. But now Bitcoin has taken off, and apparently all of the money is just flooding into it. As you look at the rest of the cryptocurrency market, at least the top 100 or so, most coins are down, especially the smart contract sort of plays like Solana and that have been really getting hit. Cardano, etc. And what I said a few days ago was that you should be, it's up to you if you want to throw money into Bitcoin at 55,000. Obviously, in the long term, it's not going to make a difference. But in the short term bull cycle, that's going to be going through the end of the year into early next year, might be better to roll some stuff into some good alternate coins. And then if Bitcoin dumps a little bit or something, or dollar cost average into it. Obviously, if you don't have any Bitcoin, just buy Bitcoin. Don't even talk about Shiba Inu or Dogecoin or whatever. Not financial advice. But if you're looking to get into crypto and haven't done anything, don't know anything about it, you should probably just buy Bitcoin, as it is the safest asset. And right now it's kind of on a tear. Went up by like 20% in about a week and a half. 15 to 20%. And that is amazing for a coin that has a market cap of over, $1 trillion. So yeah, market cap $1.0 trillion. Bitcoin by itself has 1/4 the market cap of silver. I believe silver is a $4 trillion market cap. Gold, I think, is 8 trillion, 8 or 10 trillion, something like that. So there's where you want to be. What else is going on? Yeah, I don't want to talk about ETH. Don't really care for much for that project. Solana is a buy. Somebody who swing trades, somebody who invests. I purchased some myself when it went to 151 or 150. Yesterday or day before. Yesterday it went to 146. And what I was doing is actually using some of my Bitcoin that was high relative, this is a swing trade, relative to the price of Solana. Solana went down by 15%, Bitcoin's up by 15-20%. So you take your Bitcoin and you roll her into the Solana a little bit. Of course, you don't play around with all your bags, but a little bit. And, as Solana goes back up, and you make a little bit of profit. And then, of course, at some point, we take the Solana and we roll it back into Bitcoin. That is the name of the game. Like I said, everything else, nothing much is really going on except Dogecoin and Shiba. The meme coins are fighting it out, and good for them. The market is starting to turn around now, so I'd expect the alts to start kicking. And Bitcoin to gradually make its way up to 57, 58,000 or something. And then they'll have some shenanigans go with the market where it drops again by 10,000, right? That's my expectation. And then at that point, alts will take off. This is just my opinions about what I see in the future time happening, right? So that's what's going on in the market. Crypto fear and greed is at 70. It's been there for a while. Yesterday it was apparently extreme greed. I'd expect when the alts take off here later on in the week, it's going to be extreme greed again. What is going on in the news? Biden wants to know more about your crypto. Yeah, they always have legislation. You know, it's a $1 trillion market cap. So in the name of 1 trillion Bitcoin market cap. So in the name of cryptocurrencies, that's a big deal because cryptocurrencies are a very, very less than 1% share of the market space when you're talking about gold, silver, stock market, derivatives, and all this stuff. It's a fraction of a percent. But every government everywhere wants to crack down on this stuff because it essentially is freedom. And the last thing that government wants is that their people are free. Okay, that's just pure and simple. So the old Sleepy Joe, he's basically putting every single office everywhere to go after crypto and try to put regulations in. And, you know, from the crypto standpoint, you might think that that's a bad thing for crypto. And no, it isn't. It's a good thing for crypto. It means that people are going to revolutionize, and they're going to invent and do all these things to make better, more secure cryptocurrencies that are resistant to censorship. That is what is going to happen. That is what has been happening. And it's going to continue on in the future. And the more that you try to stamp out freedom, the more it's going to rear its ugly head there. You know, and what are the governments going to do? Well, they're going to use their worthless money, and you're going to have a group of people who will have their cryptocurrencies and know how to do the system, and they'll be the rich people now. And all of those people who were the rich, who were built up on all this phony, crony capitalist, they call it capitalism, crony nonsense money, you know, like Jeff Bezos and these guys. Now, Bezos does have a product that's a pretty good product, right? You're going to tell me that because the guy has a nice website, he's worth $40 billion or $100 billion or $100 trillion because he has a website? Because he got up at 6 a.m. every morning and worked his 8-hour shift every day. No, that's not how the world works. And that's because money is a representation of energy and currency, which is why things like proof of work and cryptocurrency are a big deal, as opposed to proof of stake. Proof of stake is like your fiat. We just punch in some numbers in the machine and poof them into existence. And when you do that, you rob everybody who is actually working and using their energy to get these things. Big, long financial rant on that. But the whole thing is they want to keep you in a slave system here. Biden does. And the EMF does, and the Federal Reserve does, and pretty much everybody all in that big club that you ain't in. All right? They are not the elite. The people are the elite. Those people out there, they're just vampires that produce nothing. Okay, so he wants to know more about crypto. Biden administration is continuing to gear up for crypto regulations, with rumors now circulating of a draft of an executive order that would direct federal agencies to propose rules for the industry. You'd think that legislation is drafted, right, where they actually have laws. You know, this SEC, they've been going after all these different crypto places for all these different reasons, and the only thing the crypto people have to say is, what law are we breaking, or what's your actual rules on this? And the SEC's got nothing. Just like when you talk to the tax man in the IRS and you say, what rule am I actually breaking? Can you show me how I actually owe what you say I owe? They don't know. They just send you a bill. And because they have guns and the ability to restrict they can restrict your ability to take their precious Federal Reserve dollars, they have complete control over you. There's nothing you can do until crypto. The day of that is gone, guys. The day of that is gone. I just used my Bitcoin the other day to purchase a graphics card off Amazon. Didn't touch any banks. There was no KYC. There was no nothing. Unless you count the KYC attached to my account, which is actually under a fake name. Goes to my address, it's under a fake name. So, what are we going to do here? You want to come after these cryptos, and you want to say, we got to report everything down to 12 cents. If you have 12 cents in your bank account, we need to know about it. We're the IRS. Hey, guess what, guys? You don't need a bank account at all. You can deposit your check directly into Coinbase, although Coinbase is kind of a quasi-government entity, sort of. Not fully yet, but you can deposit your check into other places. Put them into stable coins, earn some interest. You can have your crypto debit card that you can get from BitPay or even Coinbase. No need to use banks. None. So in light of that, this is just what's happening in America. And I realize that the guy that I work with, his big thing is, oh, they're going to ban Bitcoin, they're going to ban crypto, and it's like, you can't. It's not possible to do. And even if they were, the federal government has said that they're leaving Bitcoin alone and Ethereum alone. Why is that? Because they can track transactions, stupid people, they can track stupid people, and their transactions on Bitcoin. And Ethereum, I am convinced, is going to be the New World Order backbone setup for their system. We'll get more into that later, but that's why I think those two are left alone. Bitcoin, there is nothing they can do about it. They realize this. It's too decentralized. There's absolutely nothing they can do about it. So there's no point in attacking it. Plus, they can track transactions for dumb people if they want to go after somebody. So, where does that leave us then? Well, America ain't happy with the way that the crypto guys are playing. We'll just go to El Salvador, or perhaps we'll go to Brazil or Mexico or someplace outside of the imaginary lines they call countries. Completely imaginary, completely a fictitious thing. Country lines. Cultures, that's a real thing. Not countries. Those are just stacks. Countries are just stacks of paper, guys. Brazil set to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. There's a lot of people in Brazil. I think there's something like 60 million people in Brazil. Brazil is set to follow in the footsteps of its South American counterpart, El Salvador, by adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. This move will make it possible for Brazilians to make payments and transactions using this digital currency. What is currency? Energy. Stored energy. Representation of your energy. Representation of all of the work of all of those computers that take all the power of small countries to make sure that your transaction for the cup of coffee goes through and everything is all accurate. It's energy. What currency is. This is why we do not call Federal Reserve notes, we don't call them currency, we call them fiat. There is no current there. There's no energy there. It's by decree of the people with the guns. You will use this or we will kill you. Brazil's federal deputy Herrero Ribeiro has announced that the country is preparing to adopt Bitcoin as a currency. It's funny that it's nice that they make it official, but Bitcoin is already a currency all over the world. The nation's lawmakers are set to vote on a cryptocurrency regulation bill, which is expected to be presented to the plenary of Chamber of Deputies within the next few days. The bill also calls for regulation of other virtual currencies, which was approved for presentation last week. Once it gets the go-ahead from the Chamber of Deputies this week, Brazil will follow El Salvador's example, which became the first country in the world to officially adopt Bitcoin. So it's already a foregone conclusion, pretty well. Writing all this stuff is kind of a formality. According to Ribeiro, since crypto trading is still largely unregulated, the country will put in place plans to allow for government regulation. The government has also gotten an agreement with both Central Bank and the Securities and Exchange Commission of Brazil. Isn't it funny how all of these little stacks of paper corporations have all of the exact little ministries that the United States has and Europe has and Britain, kind of under that whole monarchy thing, the oligarch? They all have those same things with all of these people with courts and flags and all these little Masonic symbols on their arms. In every little country, they all have all these things. Apart from approving Bitcoin for payments, the bill also provides some regulations to boost fines related to crypto and money laundering cases. With this, lawmakers will increase the penalties to 2/3 of the amount laundered and a maximum prison time to 16 years. This idea is to make crypto legitimate and make consumers feel more confident about using Bitcoin for all their activities. Right. Okay. So that is what's going on, and obviously it's a good thing, even if it's a state-run deal. The thing is that the state at this point, much like the federal government, IRS, the FBI, and CIA, all think that, oh yeah, let's just let them use Bitcoin because we can track that. Well, no, you can't. Anyone who knows anything about cryptocurrency is you can't. You can try, but I don't know of anybody who doesn't use decentralized exchanges, and I don't know anybody who doesn't. You're required to pay for a lot of these cryptocurrencies in Bitcoin. They're not on exchanges. So what happens to that tracking when I say turn my Bitcoin there maybe into Pirate Chain, or maybe into Monero, or WowNero, or even into Solana? You're going to call up the CEO of Solana and find out what happened to the Solana that I was sold for my Bitcoin? These are all private entities, and some of them are very decentralized. Now, Bitcoin is open source, and they're partnered up with Coinbase to use all of the tracking things. So if you never, ever, ever leave your Bitcoin, and you keep it in Bitcoin, and you keep those same coins, and you do something nefarious with them, which would basically mean you have too many of them, and then the IRS would be involved or someone. Basically, if you're anything close to being independent and wealthy. If you have any problems with that, you don't move things around. I can see that being a problem. But, hey, for the old savvy people ahead of the curve, if you're watching this, you're ahead of the curve. Even if you haven't purchased any cryptocurrency yet, you're ahead of the curve because you're learning about it before this is all 100% mainstream, which Bitcoin pretty well is. It's already at 56,000, was at 65. It is going way, way, way beyond that. There is not enough Bitcoin in the world for every millionaire to even have one Bitcoin. El Salvador, those people are going to be some of the richest people. Everyone's making fun and poo-pooing El Salvador because immediately, when everyone got their Chivo app and got their $30 in Bitcoin, the IMF crashed the market super, super bad. Went down by like 20-25%. And of course, all those people are going to be like, oh, I had $30 and now I have 20, right? Or 25, whatever it would be. And the news media is all over that with all the FUD and how distraught people were. People didn't care because it's free money. You throw a dog a bone, you don't want to hear about if it tastes good or not, is the expression that comes from Snatch. A movie, so don't get all upset, guys. Don't get all upset. So anyways, I bet they're pretty happy now. You get the old Chivo wallet, and you just didn't spend any of it, and your $30 went to $45, right? Or $40. Yeah, it would have went up to $45, $50. Would have went up to $50. So they didn't do nothing and they doubled their money, got it for free. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Well, they're going to have that in America, and we will talk about that in a second. Right now, Bitcoin Magazine, Missouri mayor to give $1,000 in Bitcoin to every household. Who wants to move to Missouri? This guy gets it. Missouri Mayor Jason Stewart plans to give every household in Cool Valley $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Cool Valley, Missouri, a small town in St. Louis County area, has about 1,500 residents. Jason Stewart told Bitcoin Magazine in an interview that Bitcoin has given me a new way of thinking about humanity in the future. This man doesn't want to be a slave anymore. He continued, it's given me hope. Well, can't have that. And optimism that we can overcome some of the worst parts of the system that we're born into and actually create a future exactly how we want it to be. There's a certain level of hope and optimism that I get from Bitcoin. This guy is me if I was mayor. Okay? That is exactly something that I would say. I am a unapologetic, what do you call it, idealist. All right? Unapologetic idealist. Initially, Stewart planned to raise enough money to airdrop $500 to every household in Cool Valley. However, his announcement drew attention and additional funds from across the nation. As of right now, the project is fully funded for $1,000 per household. Adding that the town has exceeded its donation goals because the story got so popular. So everyone's happy. 1,500 people, $1,000 per. Yeah. There you go. $15,000? Sure. Or no, $15,000. $150,000. Anyways. Now, what I would say, what would even be better than that, or do both. Personally, what I would do is you know, if the town and the people were very into cryptocurrency, and it was, you know, small towns like this with only 1,500 people, everybody knows each other, and a lot of people must really be on board with this, because this is their tax money. This is their tax money that's going into a fund, and everybody gets their tax return, or everybody gets whatever, their local stuff is going to be back in Bitcoin, effectively, is what it means. And everybody was cool with getting paid in Bitcoin. So here's what I'd do. I'd say, okay, everyone's going to get 500 Bitcoin. Everyone get your app set up, get on an exchange somewhere and figure it out how it all works. And what I'm going to do with the other $500 is everybody is going to get a video card for cryptocurrency mining. Everybody who's got a computer, wants a computer, whatever, $500 goes to get you into cryptocurrency mining. That way everybody can participate and have a perpetual income for the city, for yourself and the city. Portion of that would go to the city. I would have the power plant rigged up to Bitcoin miners. And if I was a mayor in a small town like that, a lot of things would get done. But alas, I am not. So yeah, that's what's going on. In a lot of little things in towns, people get overwhelmed by the news in America. I don't know what country people are watching from, but in America, really, people really get focused on the federal world news network about what what's the president doing, what's Sleepy Joe doing, what are these government agencies doing. And those agencies and those people, and it has nothing to do with 99% of people's lives, until they want to go mess with putting TSA agents everywhere, right? For the most part, though, occasionally, once every few years, you've got something that comes down through that actually affects everybody in the country to some extent. But the people who really do these wonderful things and actually change things for the positive and get us out of that whole New World Order system are in the local towns. Now, right here, we have a mayor who is doing the Bitcoin thing. A few years ago, we had a mayor who put forth legislation and approved legislation, and this was actually had to be done by the city council, I would expect, to put through to make sure that everyone that owns a home needs to have a firearm. Okay? Things like this. Why would you do that? Because then you don't have to hire cops. You got one guy who's an emergency responder and your doctor around somewhere with a pager, and we don't need cops anymore because everybody is armed. And give them all some Bitcoin and a video card so they can crypto mine. With the nice little Chivo app that all you do is you hit the button and the thing mines cryptocurrency. You never even know it's on. That's what I think of that. Ethereum co-founder opposes El Salvador's Bitcoin adoption policy. This came out yesterday, 2 days ago. And now I'm thinking co-founder of Ethereum. Some nobody, right? Some nobody. Co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Butterbean. No, he's not just a co-founder. He is the guy who runs the show. He's the little boy who runs the show. As I like to call him, Vitalik Butterbean Decongestant, is speaking out against the policy of El Salvador to make Bitcoin crypto usage mandatory for merchants and businesses, saying it was against cryptocurrency's ideals of freedom. This is coming from this little twerp, this little New World Order freak. He says it's against the ideals of freedom to have a decentralized proof of work currency for people to use and interact with anybody else in the world without any fees, without any problems going from one imaginary stack of papers called a country to another imaginary stack. Everybody's a Bitcoin is a Bitcoin is a Bitcoin. It's worth a Bitcoin wherever you go. You can't stop it. China can't stop it. Shut down all their miners. Bitcoin didn't care. All of the FUD, all of the playing around in the markets with the IMF, Bitcoin doesn't care. It keeps on going. And little Butterboy out here is, it goes against the ideals of freedom. It goes against the ideals of freedom. Peter says, the policy of pushing people to use Bitcoin with almost no prior attempt to educate them is reckless and risks large number of innocent people getting hacked or scammed. Okay. It's always what it is. Be afraid of cryptocurrency because there's hackers out there. Apparently people don't understand that it's really hard to hack somebody who's using crypto properly, if not impossible. Generally, the way, let me make this very clear to people. Someone I'm worked in IT for a long time. You lose access to your accounts because you're a dumbass. Okay? You download some sort of application onto your computer that is a keylogger. That's what happens. Or, in the case of passwords, you give them to people who you think are legit. That's the way that almost all accounts are hacked. You hear about Sony losing hundreds of thousands of customer data. You hear about Xbox losing hundreds of thousands. Target lost hundreds of thousands of people's data. Target, Walmart, the list goes on and on and on and on of data getting lost. It was a hack. It was a hack. It was these darn hackers. It was a disgruntled employee who left and his password still worked. An employee who sold the information and the passwords to get into the accounts. Or it was somebody calling up the help desk pretending to be someone very high up in the company and needing access to the files. All that other stuff is stuff you see on movies. We have the 16-year-old girl who's hacking into the mainframe of the CIA or whatever. It's all movie stuff. Movie stuff. Shame on everyone. Okay, fine, I'll call out the main people responsible. Shame on Bitcoin maximalists who are uncritically praising him, Buterin added in a Reddit post. Shame on Bitcoin maximalists. Coming from a guy who runs a scam coin known as Etherium. Vitalik Decongestant Buttersworth, a scammer? Vitalik Butterfield, the co-founder of Ethereum, was blamed for driving a scam, including Ethereum. The scam probably included pre-mining that has permitted him and Joe Lubin to take 75% of the ETH supply and transform them into billionaires. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Ethereum was pre-mined, and then they went around saying, we promise someday this will be worth something. Give us some money for them. And all your congressmen, senators, IMF, and all of the people involved in money really trusted the 18-year-old Buttersfield Decongestant because he's a super genius and gave him billions of dollars for magic beans that he pre-mined. Sounds an awful lot like a security to me. When you sell magic beans at the promise that someday they will be worth something, I wonder why the SEC has said that Ethereum is in the clear. Oh, wait, they used the excuse that Ethereum is proof of work. You actually have to physically mine, right? You actually have to mine using computers, using ASICs, using whatever. You have to mine these coins. You have to process the transactions on these computer systems, which is why the transactions are outrageous, by the way. But you have to mine on computer systems using energy, creating the currency, creating the ability for Ether to do anything. And because of that, because anybody can mine Ethereum on any video card, any computer, as long as you got 4 gigabytes of RAM. A lot of people, of course, use ASICs and professional mining things, but anybody can mine Ethereum. So your network is decentralized if you take the miners into account across the entire world. However, when you take in the nodes that actually process and compare and validate these transactions and decide to send them on and attach them to the blockchain, all of those are on Amazon Web Services and the equivalent of Amazon Web Services in Germany. All of them. So that is not decentralized at all. Now, the miners, okay, we'll give them the miners. What does Mr. Butterfield want to do with Ethereum, and why can't anybody stop him? Mr. Butterfield wants to turn Ethereum from proof of work, which requires work, to proof of stake, which is magic beans. It becomes Federal Reserve fiat. That's what it becomes, because there is no work behind it. Why do they want to do this? Well, it's to reduce the fees. Well, I bet, if it takes no work to create the currency. What does that do to the miners, the people who support your entire ecosystem and have been for the last 5 years? They all go broke. Sounds like freedom. I want to talk about these minings a little bit. This is actually where the entire video was going to go straight to mining. But we had some other things to talk about there, didn't we? So Mr. Butterfield, who pre-mined and sold all of his coins as securities so we could fund Ethereum. Now, I'll grant you, Ethereum is the very first blockchain that didn't have the ability for smart contracts. It didn't when it started. Okay? It didn't have a lot of these things when it started. They had to go to Ethereum 2.0 at the time. Now we have Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. And then they're going to have to do another patch and another patch and another patch to get these things up to where they need to be. And at the end of the day, it's a ridiculously costly and inefficient way to do things on Ethereum. Nobody can use it. You want to mint an NFT, it's $1,000. Okay? That's how inefficient it is. And the more that Ethereum goes up in value, the more and more and more and more inefficient it is. So why would you want Ethereum to go up? Well, all of that pre-mine to buy off all the Congress and senators and the guys in the SEC and the presidents of these countries, right? They need the price to go up so those people are happy. All right? And then what you do is you invent a staking pool where all the people who currently have boats loads and boatloads, like all the Ethereum is owned by about 1% of the wallet holders. Okay? All of those people have massive voting rights. Whereas in a decentralized community, everybody has like one right, one voting right, because everything is so decentralized. In Ethereum's case, pretty much Vitalik Butterbean Decongestant has the say in everything because he has all the coins. The miners don't want to go to proof of stake. Why can't they overrule him like in any other blockchain, like Bitcoin? Like some other ones where you have to get the miners on board to make changes. Well, because Butterbean's just like a CEO of a company like Tesla. Where sure, you're a publicly traded company, you have a board of directors, but Elon Musk owns the majority of the company. Does Elon Musk need to care what investors think? Not particularly. He owns more than 51% of the company. He doesn't need to care what people think. He doesn't need to care what his board of directors thinks. Michael Saylor is another one. He doesn't need to care what anybody thinks. Vitalik Butterbean doesn't need to care what anybody thinks. And when the thing goes to proof of stake, all of those people who bought magic beans to finance this guy are going to be incredibly wealthy, and they'll be able to do whatever they want to on Ethereum. And nobody can stop it, and nobody has a say in it. This is why I think that this is going to be the New World Order chain system, because it's incredibly expensive, incredibly inefficient, and one person can have 100 million votes and overrule anybody on this system. Any change they want to make to Ethereum, they can do it. There is no consensus. There is no nothing. And it's only 15 transactions a second. So it's about, it's a slight upgrade to the Swift system that we've been using for 40 years now. It's a slight upgrade. This is why I think that's what this is going to be. So I recommend to everybody to use decentralized applications in Solana and even Cardano. Cardano is, man, that Hodgkinson's guy is really trying to be New World Order. He is, he's a Nazi. He's a Nazi. Just look at his stuff. Look at his stuff that he wants to come out with. The One World ID, Internet ID. Oh, I want Cardano to be the #1 World ID, Internet ID. I want Cardano to be the carbon tax ID for everybody on the. Guy's got mental problems. We're going to talk a little bit as we're going off in the mining thing. We're talking about proof of work and proof of stake. Now, obviously, proof of stake is a legitimate system to be used in certain applications, such as something like, your application layer, like a Solana, even, yes, like Ethereum, because of the speed of the transactions. Now, proof of work is there to be reliable, it's there to be decentralized, it's there to be incredibly resistant to hacks and all of this other stuff. But it's also going to be a lot slower because it does that, all right? Now, the importance of the miners is, number one, it supports the blockchain. Number two, average anybody anywhere can be a miner and be part of the blockchain, be a part of restoring the economy to its former glory, giving freedom back to people, breaking away from the Federal Reserve IMF system. Anybody with a computer and a video card, all right? Obviously, there are big warehouses full of mining machines and people and big, large corporations that do this also. But there are a lot of coins out there to mine, guys. So, typically, though, for particularly things like Ethereum, people will be using graphics cards, and there are some blockchains that are built specifically for individual people in their house to mine, to keep the big boys out for fear of centralization. They don't want to be centralized at all. So, what do we have going on? As the price of cryptocurrency goes up and up and up and up, we are in the biggest boom for miners since 1847 in California, right? Tremendous amounts of money are made just by people with a couple of graphics cards, in their house, mining when they're not playing video games. Now, it is not that way right now because there are so many people involved, the hash rate's so high, and there's a lot of technical reasons where it's not nearly as profitable right now as it was, say, a year ago. It was incredibly profitable. Probably would have, from today, probably a year ago, you were probably making 3 times as much for the same setup. Well, what people are doing is it's still profitable, right? So anytime these graphics cards come out, NVIDIA is a manufacturer of these, they snap them all up because every card you buy, after a couple of months, it's already paid for, and then you're just making profit as long as you can cover your electricity costs. So because of this, there wasn't any cards, and also because cooties, we can't get chips in for cars, we can't get chips in on this, and, graphics cards for gamers is probably pretty low on the priority list of things to rush out. So NVIDIA, what they did to stop the miners from buying up all the graphics cards as soon as they came off the boat from China, was they implemented a light hash rate. When you mine Bitcoin or Ethereum, you have a hash rate, how fast it works, right? attributed to these different cards. And the new line of cards comes out, and they only perform half as well as they should. So this is like, as a consumer, as a customer of these places, both for gaming, because I do occasionally do video games, but also for cryptocurrency mining, I look at it like this. So I go buy a car. When I get there, you look me in the face and you mark the price up 100%, 200%. These cards retail at bottom end at they start at $349. They're $899 right now. Okay, so it's more than 2x. Same card. So when I get there, you tell me the car is half as much, and then, just as I'm about to get in and drive it, you shoot half the tires. That's what you think of me as a customer. It doesn't matter if I'm mining cryptocurrency or if I'm playing a video game. Why do people who want a video card to sit in their mom's basement and have a better experience wasting their time? Why are they getting preferential treatment to somebody who is actually actively part of growing a new economy that gives freedom to the world? You see where we're at here. This whole thing has nothing at all to do about money, the light hash rate. It has everything to do about freedom. We want to make our cards to make sure people they can play their video games. We don't want to mine in crypto. We don't want to mine in crypto. Now, as you know, these New World Order companies, when there's only two, okay? NVIDIA and AMD. Used to be ATI. It used to be NVIDIA and ATI. Now it's NVIDIA and AMD. Intel and AMD. Right? All of these firms where you have one group next to another group. And those are the two. This is your choice. This is our red and blue. Which one do you want? Do you want red or do you want blue? There is no independent. You cannot get a graphics card that is not an AMD or an NVIDIA. They're in a little bit of a collusion. They get to be in part of that club that you ain't going to be in. Okay? So that is what's going on with that. And I think that it's really interesting that both productive, smart people in society use the same card as people who just want to play video games. And like I said, you know, I play games and stuff too and would have a fairly decent card for doing that. Now, hopefully these gamers fire up their PCs and still crypto mine. What's funny is with light hash rate, the people involved in crypto are innovators. Okay, we're innovators. We're way ahead of the curve, and they've already mostly cracked this anyway. But the thing is that they're still profitable. They have a limited hash rate where you get half the hash rate of what you're supposed to get, and they're more than doubling the cost of the cards. And even taking in the factor that your card costs $900 now, it is still profitable to buy those cards en masse and mine Ethereum with them. And you can play video games too. What do you know? What do you know? So back to Buter and the scammer. I don't have too much else to say. I think that was about everything there. With the recent news, I know we've been going on probably about an hour now. What do we got? 43 minutes. Like I said, guys, we're gonna pack them all in as rather than doing quick updates every day, because I don't have time for that, especially if there's only like 20 people that are gonna watch the video. It takes a lot of work to be right on the button with all the cryptocurrencies news, and crypto changes too quick. The point where if I had a audience of 100 people or something like that, I would just go live every day and then I could cover it. But making videos is no. We'll just bottle it all up and release my angst in one big blah. That's what's going on in crypto. That's what's going on in crypto. As far as what I am doing now, this is how to make the money part. This is how to make the money part. You got to wait all the way until the end. What I am doing with crypto. I am rotating some funds out of Bitcoin, because there is some profits there. There's like 20% profits, right? So you take a little bit, say like 5% of your total Bitcoin that you have, if you have a good stockpile of Bitcoin, you take that and you roll it into a good alternative solid coin that is down. Everything has been down, and you find something like even Solana at 149. Okay, Solana is really volatile, but in 6 months that's gonna be somewhere, right? People better at the markets and smarter than me were looking at Solana for like $800-900. Okay, after the bull cycle. I think she's pretty good for 300 to 450, somewhere in there. He's pretty good for that. And right now it's weak against Bitcoin. That was my play that I did. And I also bought, I wanted to buy Polkadot, but I didn't want to cash in that much Bitcoin. Polkadot's going to be big. But I picked up Matic, which is still struggling. It's a pretty cherry buy at, you know, if you can get it for less than $1.20, which isn't unheard of. Geez, it was just $1.18 today. Really early in the morning, it was $1.18. So if you can pick that up for $1.20, I would put in an order on that. Yeah, buy 100 shares of it. If it goes to $5, you know, you made some good stuff. And that's the plays that I made personally. Everything else I am just holding on to with the alts. We're just adding to bags right now. We're not playing around with buying anything new. There are some really good things out there that I wanted to get into, like Arweave. Was it Filecoin? Did Filecoin shoot up recently? Filecoin's not a bad project either. I think it was Arweave. Arweave, which is a data storage project that's off of Solana, which is one that I want to buy, but it's really hard to find an exchange that has it. Luna is another one that's been skyrocketing. All of the alts over the last week have been going down, 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 down. The only thing going up was Bitcoin, with the exception of Luna. Axie Infinity, which is a video game play, which I would, when I have some cash, I am going to get into the video game plays because it's an area that I very much understand. I understand how that whole ecosystem works. Unfortunately, I understand how it all works. Was Luna and I think Avalanche were another ones. Avalanche is a little sketchy, according to some people out on the interwebs who have done more research into it than I am. But they're the ones that are going up. Arweave, I think it was Arweave. Arweave and Luna. Everything else is crapping. But a few of the projects are turning around. And, you know, we'll see what's going to happen by a week from now. Like I said, I'm looking for Bitcoin to hit around the 60K mark and do like it as always does. Drops 3, 4, 5, 6K, right? And then the altcoins will take off. And then everything will rise. And the alts will, you know, maybe 3, 4, 5x over the course of the next month or two. And Bitcoin will gradually make its play up. End of the year, I would say Bitcoin, you know, 80,000 is what I am looking at. That's not too far out of realm of possibility. There are other moon boys out there who say 400K and all this stuff. You know, we'll see. Do I think it's possible? Man, anything is possible in crypto. Solana did like a 9x in like a month. Yeah, anything's possible in crypto. With that, guys, y'all take it easy, stay safe, do your dollar cost averaging, and you know, that reminds me, I'll have to pull up the crypto portfolio the next time I do a video about with the dollar cost average portfolio that's going on in there. Do your own due diligence in researching the crypto market, and if you're not involved, why not? Why not? You're missing the boat. With that, we're going to be out of here.